Thanks for watching Lehman Racing Podcast. Please make sure you check out my recent episodes. They're pretty cool. Thank you for watching and thank you for the support and enjoy the episode.
Hey guys, so doing it off my phone today. So we welcome to Lehman Racing Podcast. Your host Dalton McVeigh here. It's been a minute. Finally being able to get back into it and getting back going. We had some issues for a couple of weeks, and I also been in the training academy for corrections officers. So we just had the graduation yesterday. So it's been hectic, and so I finally got stuff fixed, and yeah. So we're obviously back. We got a special guest in the back tonight here. A few minutes, I'll be bringing him onto the stage. But yeah, so we other than that, I don't have my computer today, so it's up in where I usually stay at during the week. So, but anyways, so basically, everything. I won't have no videos on this one, unfortunately, because I can't really do it on my phone. That's what I'm recording off of is my iPhone, but. Basically, like I said, this will be the 20th live video that we've recorded as far as the podcast wise, not counting the pre-recorded ones as well. Like I said, I just want to thank everybody, all the support, everything. It's perfect. Like I said, we've came definitely a long way since we started, and I hope we continue to grow as well. Please be sure to like and comment and subscribe as well to the content. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring on our guest, uh, the wild child himself, John Young.
Have
How you
all the
doing?
fear. I am here, guys.
How you doing, John?
All right, how you doing, Dalton? Or should I
Good,
say
good.
Officer McVeigh now? Congratulations on that, brother. We are
Thank you,
all so
sir.
proud of you, all your accomplishments on that, buddy.
It's definitely been. It was definitely a long 8 weeks. So I guess we go ahead and get things started. So let the viewers know a little bit more about yourself and where you're from.
Well, I'm John Young. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I race in the Dominator Superstock class out at Oakshade Raceway. When I don't race, I help announce with Scott Hammer up in the booth there, who's the voice of the Oakshade Raceway. I've been doing racing probably, I would say, since about early 2000s on and off, and then 2020 I decided to go full time, and now here we
Gotcha.
are.
Awesome. So question is what tracks have you been at, and what was your favorite one so far?
Ooh, that's a loaded question, son. I've been to Oakshade, Fremont, Millstream, Sandusky, and of course, Oakshade being the home track. I've got a special place in my heart for that track. I love the Hendrick family. They give us a place to race and have a good time every Saturday night. Um, do I do Sandusky? I do the hangover race, and I've been known to be pretty good wheelman out there during that race. They from what I've been told. So as far as the favorite track, I'd have to, like I said, go with the home track of Oakshade.
So, just to follow up with that, my understanding Sandusky is asphalt, correct?
That is correct. It's a half-mile asphalt track compared to the other tracks I mentioned, which are all dirt tracks.
So, I guess another fun follow up question is do you prefer dirt over asphalt or asphalt over dirt?
Well, it's like the old saying: asphalt's for getting there, dirt's for racing.
That's the popular saying right there. You know how
And
many guests I've had on in the past said the same thing.
well, if you don't like dirt racing, it's your own asphalt.
Right. Yeah. So, what was your proudest moment so far racing and also how long have you been racing too? We'll just add those two in one.
Yeah, that's all right. Like I said, I started probably about 2005, 2006, on and off, just, when I could afford to go. I was working, dead end jobs at the time. And like I said, I started racing full time back in 2020 after the birth of my kids. I wanted to be, be a proper dad for them. Watch them grow and help them grow and everything. So 2020, I decided to go full time, and at the end of the 2020 season, I started to get my car where it could handle a lot better. And it was just before the beginning of the 2021 season. I told a couple of my buddies, I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go out with a bang. I'm going to try to do something this year." They're like, "All right, let's see it." Well, halfway through I was in the first heat race that night. Halfway through it, it went bang all right. I blew the motor up.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a big disappointment. And that following Tuesday, my messenger goes off, and Scott Hammer hits me up, and I'm figuring he's going to say something like of the lines of, "How bad's the car? You going to be able to get back out later on this year?" Something of that nature. The first thing when I opened it up, it says, "Have you ever thought about doing any announcing?" I looked at that and I'm like, "What in the world?" But I told myself I've always wanted to, but I've never had a chance or opportunity. He says, "You want to do it this Saturday?" I said, "Sure." And I hit send. And I'm like, "You big dummy, you've never done this a day in your life." And that's how the announcement, me doing the announcing, helping him out started, which I still do to this day. But as far as my greatest part, I would have to say June 15th of last year, I got my first ever feature win.
awesome.
Yes, I could not believe that because it was a double feature night, and the first feature was for that night for June 15th. I started on the pole. I had Alex Crawl on my outside, and Alex got me on the start, and he ended up winning. I finished second. I learned a lot following behind him during that race. So we went back up for the makeup race for June 1st. They had me starting fifth, and I told myself, "Man, I got two guys in front of me. I know I'm faster than them. If they just move to the right, I can get by them real quick." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's never going to happen because I just said it." We get the green flag, they move to the right, and I shot out of there like a cannon. And by the time we come out of turn two, I was leading the thing. And I led all 12 laps, and I couldn't believe it because every year I set a goal for myself, a realistic one, and I told myself that year, I just want to lead a lap under green. I don't care if it's in the heat race or in the feature. I just want to lead a lap under green. And I blew that one out of the water that night. I got my first win, and then a couple weeks later, I got my second win, and a couple weeks after that, I got my third win.
Definitely an awesome feeling. I mean, how do you think I felt when I was leading that one race? It was a couple of weeks ago now, but then the car acted up.
Oh,
You remember
you,
that
you
one?
could, yeah, you could being in the pit side and all that. Yeah, you could just see the frustration. It's like we're all like, "No, no way." And so I can imagine what you went through. So
Yeah, I was definitely not happy, but I've gotten the car to come a long way since then. I mean, last week I broke a control. Well, 2 weeks ago actually now, but I broke the control arm. That's why I couldn't finish the feature. But it was a rocket in the feature for at least the one lap it was running. But I decided to go around went to go take the second lap, and the car wanted to veer to the left. I had no control over it, so I knew right there was kind of something broke. And so I had it towed back, and I was sitting there wiggling the wheel, and the control arm completely is just gone. The bushing on the inside of it, so it's just. So we got a new one on for this week, so she's pretty solid now. So,
that's good, good, good. Yeah,
so
I
oh,
got the gremlins out of mine too because a couple months ago, Grayson Warner, Scott Hammer, and myself, we all made the 2.5 hour pull down to Montpelier, Indiana,
okay, yep.
and so I figured it's my first time there. Let me try it. I got in the car and I fired up on the trailer and it started backfiring really bad.
Oh no.
So I just shut it off. I left the car on the trailer the whole race. Long story short, it ended up being the distributor was bad.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so it was pretty much almost a 6 hour round trip for nothing.
Damn. I got.
Yeah.
Speaking of Montpelier, I've been there a few times, and I gotta admit, between that and Oakshade is probably my only two favorite ones as far as my favorite goes. It's just the thing is obviously Oakshade trumps over Montpelier because I grew up at that track, but more of when it comes to Butler, don't get me wrong, it's a good track out there, but I just seem like my stuff gets tore up more than it comes home in one piece there.
Yeah, I've heard Butler's got a lot of character up there.
Yeah. So what was your most challenging moment so far and how did you overcome it?
Oh, I would say my most challenging moment is back in 2021 when the motor blew because I don't have, sponsors throwing dollars at me saying, "Here, get the car back out there." And so I was pretty bummed the 2021 season as a racer. And so instead of racing, I got to announce. And while I was announcing, I was saving my money up. And then finally got the money up and got a whole new motor for the 2022 season. And I came back with a
Awesome.
vengeance.
So what does it say on your shirt? Midnight Nightmare?
This one here is from a local band that's no longer around. They were called "You Are a Toy." That's
Oh
just
no,
what
I
their
was
shirt.
I was I was more talking
Oh,
about your racing shirts.
oh, yes. I named the car Midnight Nightmare, and I have it stickered on the front of the spoiler there. And people say, "Well, why'd you call the car that?" I said, "Because I spent a lot of midnights working on that thing. It's been nothing but a nightmare."
Oh, that's a good one. You don't want to hear
That's
how
it.
cheesy mine sounds about my number on the side of my car, 360.
Right?
And I've said this before, but a lot will laugh at it because honestly, it was part of a joke too. But and some call it childish. But hey, you gotta have fun sometime. So 360 comes by when I was growing up. The Xbox 360. So
That's
so that
it.
was that was the main one that was the big kind of behind that. But also when I was going through tough times growing up with just stuff going on with family and stuff like that, that was my go-to thing. Like I would go there and it would be my happy place. Growing up. Now I haven't even touched a game system, and gosh, almost it's been a year and a half now because it's been like I work more than I'm even home.
That's it.
But that's one of the biggest things. I knew not many people would have that number either. So,
That's true. A lot of people ask me how I came up with number 15. And as a kid growing up, the first NASCAR race I saw, Bobby Allison won it. And he was
mhm,
driving for Bud Moore back then, and the number was 15. So I thought, man, this guy, that racer, he come across television as a gentleman. He wasn't arrogant or cocky. He just come across as a normal person, somebody that was humble.
mhm.
So, and then when I was a little boy growing up, Dad took me to Flat Rock Speedway. My dad was the official scaleman back then, and so I got to go in the pits. And he says, "Well, here, go over here to the Silva family. They said they'll watch you." I'm like, "Okay." So they made me an unofficial crew member. So my job was to, write down the tire stagger size and clean the cars. And as a little 9-year-old boy back then, I thought I was, king stuff. You know what I mean? So, and one of the brothers at the time, his number was 15. I'm like, and my birthday falls on the 15th. So just every time I turn around, the number 15 kept popping up, and that's how I came up with it.
Heck yeah. I know you mentioned your dad was a scaleman. Was he like a racer in a sense, as far as like legacy wise?
Yes, he was. He raced figure eights at Toledo and Flat Rock Speedways back in the 60s, and he hung up the helmet back in 1969. And I was born in 70. So I tell people I was born with it, I was born with it.
Yeah.
Racing's in my blood. So.
Was there like any early interests, like when you were younger, that got your eye in the racing, and like leading up to it, what got you into it in a sense?
Well, yeah, as a little boy growing up, I'd see my mom and dad go to the racetrack every weekend, and of course they stick me at home with a babysitter. And then, being the wild child that I was, all the local babysitters wouldn't come near my house because of me. I was such a little hellion.
Yeah.
So there was one night my mom wanted to go to the track really bad because there was somebody there she wanted to, one of her friends. And my dad, he put that big old shoulder on me and he says, his hand on my shoulder, and he says, "Hey, we're going to the racetrack tonight. Do you want to go?" And I said, "Well, let me think about this. Loud cars, cool paint schemes, going really fast, and they wreck each other. Yes, I'm in."
Uh,
He says, "All right, behave yourself." He stuck that big old finger like this in my face. He says, "Now behave yourself." And that meant don't ask for nothing. And I was like, "Yes, sir." So we go to the track, and I'm watching the races. And my mom, being a little sneak that she is, she says, "You want some popcorn?" I said, "Absolutely." She goes, "You want a Pepsi?" I'm like, "Absolutely." She goes, "Well, here's $10. Go get us both a popcorn, get yourself a sandwich, and bring me back a coffee and get yourself something to drink. And don't say nothing to your dad." I said, "Okay." And ever since then, I've been hooked. And that's all I ever want to do is drive a race car.
now that is a cool story. Very cool story. um, so what was your first experience like when you first got in the car?
My first experience, I was, for Oakshade, for example, was back in 1999. I was crew chiefing for a kid named Kevin Yeager Jr. And it was we're coming up to the last race of the season, and the week prior he got into a wreck and he tweaked his back. And his doctor told him, he says, "You're done." And he says, "Well, will I be able to race again?" He says, "Nope, you're done." He says, "Forever?" He's like, "No." He says, "When's your next season? Next race?" He goes, "This upcoming Saturday." He says, "No, you can't race it." He said, "Well, about next year?" He says, "Well, when's next year start?" So he told him. He says, "Yeah, next year you'll be fine, but next week, no." So we're back in the shop putting the car back together and just clowning around. I says, "Well, I'll drive the car." And without hesitation, he looked at me. He said, "Okay." I'm like, "Uh-oh." I didn't have,
Uh-oh.
yeah, I didn't have a fire suit. I didn't have a helmet, shoes, gloves, or nothing. So I went and got me a cheap motorcycle helmet, got a fire suit and shoes, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot to order the gloves." So I went to your local home stores and got me a pair of mechanics glove wear. I'm like, "Oh, these will have to do." And back then they were running A, B, C, and D mains in the bomber class. Now the super stocks. I started 26th in the B main, dead last, and I finished sixth. Now the funny part about that was I didn't pass a car all night long.
Oh,
Everybody in front of me kept wrecking.
gnarly.
Yeah. And so we get the white flag. It's like Larry Mack says, "Pull those belts tight one more time." So I'm doing that down the back straightaway. We go into turn three, man, and the RPMs all went up, and I hit the gas. Then in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Throw the caution, throw the caution, throw the caution." So that was my first experience on dirt. But after a few laps, I'm like, "This ain't so bad. This is not bad at all." And here we are today.
So, I know I touched into this a little briefly, like even back in like the first episode, but I didn't really get into it too much. So my dad, he raced street stock back in 2000. I want to say it was 1998 or something, and it was going into 2000 or whatnot. But he was going by the 3DM. Dave McVeigh was one, and then the
Mhm.
199 John McVeigh was the other. 24T, I think Terry McVeigh, and then trying to think of the other one. 414, which he previously just came back, which was Rick McVeigh, but he
Mhm.
was at Oakshade about a week and a half ago. He's still trying to get his stuff figured out. He was having some fun issues with tire pressure, so he was burning his tires more than he was getting grip out there. Um, so as far as that goes, so I didn't really know anything about what he did because he did it before I was born, because I was born in '03. But the thing is like when it went to, I think it was 2014, so let's skip forward to there. Corey Gum started racing. That's when he started getting out there, putting the car together. And a lot of people may know him, a lot of people may not know. That's my cousin. Basically, I went around. I helped him. Helped him out and kind of traveled with him a little bit. And it was a pretty cool experience. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, man, racing is definitely my calling. Like, it's especially being like in the pits all the way around and stuff. So it's like, man, I really want to get in there. And I was trying to get my cousin to let me drive his car just one time, and one time he wouldn't do it. So I just had to just save. And when after COVID was done in the end of 2020, 2021 is when I took into it and I called my buddy Nate Goodman up. Well, I should say it was first time actually meeting him back in 21. And I texted him. I said, "Hey man, I see you build cars. What exactly would you cost to put one together for me? I mean, it could be this, just a basic one. I just want to get out there and see what it's like before I put money in the car." And he's like, "Yeah, man, we can." I was like, "Can you do payments or something?" Because he told me 1,500 at first, and I'm like, "Can you do payments? It's just because I'm a kid and I don't have all that money all at once." And he goes, "Yeah, man, we can work something out." And so I did payments throughout the winter, and we had the car by the beginning season of 2021, and well, the beginning day of 2021, and yeah, so we got on the track that week. And as far as the first experience, now I tell you, I went out there and I was a scared dog. I'm not gonna lie. First
That's
time in a
it.
car is intimidating.
No, you're not human if you don't get scared.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still cautious to this day, but I'm getting really comfortable with the car I got now. Like, I'm very comfortable with it, so it's always good instead of being. I mean, there's still some things such as the cobalt spindles and stuff like that. The very finicky ones. So I watch what I do in a sense because I don't want to give y'all a show up there on the announcing. I was like, oh, there he goes off the turn one or whatever. I don't want to do that. Uh, we don't want
Now
to
you're
hear
taking
those
my fun
words.
away.
What's that?
Now, now you're taking my fun away with that. Now, come on now.
Do you have any close calls like that before?
Oh yeah, heat race last year, opening night. A couple guys got into it, and Kenny Rice ended up flipping in our heat race. I started dead last in the heat race. I had the blue 73 car on my inside. We all go honking in turn one. Everyone's wrecking. I seen it, and I let off the gas. I hit the brake, and the 73 car was still on the gas. And then he realized there's a wreck up there. He hit the brakes and spun right in front of me. I had nowhere to go. I cut the wheel hard right. We both went over the berm in turn one, and I actually got airborne. And I was getting ready to barrel roll like this, and I come down, and my driver door landed right on his right front, and car landed on all fours, spun around, and the car was running. I'm like, I'm alive. I made it. We're good. Wait a minute, the car's still running. And I took off and went back out in the race.
Yeah. So
And that was
my
also the night that when you had Braxton Daly on one of your earlier podcasts, was talking about when I rear-ended his dad, Nick Fenner. Everybody
yeah.
was hem hawing. You're getting lined up, and if you don't get lined up, you're going to lose your spot. I was supposed to start seventh in that race. I ended up starting third, and they were still hem hawing behind us, not getting lined up. And finally, we get the white flag, and so we all go down the back straightaways. We blow the motors out and get them all spooled up. And as soon as I seen Nick take off, I took off too. I come off turn four. I look up. I'm like, yellow flag. Nothing in the earpieces. And then I said, yellow flag. Then I looked straight ahead, and all I saw was the rear end of the car, and I jacked them up.
Oh no.
Yeah, my radiator cap popped right off the car, clean off.
Oh
Ended my night.
jeez.
I still this day I don't know where that radiator cap went to. As far as I know, that can be in Lyons, Ohio, somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah, so the thing is, like, heck, I think the close call, like I haven't really had much close calls as far as like maybe the one back in 21 towards the end of the season when I got hit sideways in B main and broke my trailing arm, but got the car sideways. But as far as that goes, I mean, my dad, when he bought the old '89 back in 22, and he was racing with it for a minute. Dave McVeigh was, and he took it out there, and he went to hit the. I think he said he went to go hit the brake, and he hit the clutch. No, he went to go hit the clutch, but he hit the brake instead. And what it did, it shifted the car off the track, so he went over berm one, and the berm there, and he's like, man, I thought I was gonna roll it for sure, but he got lucky.
Oh
He's
yeah.
like, and then after that, honestly, he kind of started backing off from running it. So I don't know exactly if he wasn't a fan of that or not, but yeah, but he sold the car a little bit after. He's like, if I get a car, I want to go back to driving bomber. He's like, street stock or diamond ring stoop stock, whatever they call them nowadays. But he's like, I want to just get back to doing those type of car because I just don't. Front wheel drive's not my cup of tea.
Fair enough.
I was like, well, Mike, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you guys gotta, I mean, obviously you know a lot more about it, but like, what I see, you gotta get the rear end, when you come around a turn, you gotta get the back end set just right coming out, and ours, it's the front wheel drive, so it pushes, and you just gotta hold the wheel to the left.
That's it. Yeah, when you go on the turns in the super stocks, you gotta set the car, get it angled into the turn, and then you goose the gas to bring the rear end around a little bit, so that way it help control it go around the turns. And
So
then when you
real
come out of
quick,
the turn, go ahead, go ahead.
all right, real quick, I'm just gonna say hi to a few people that just said hi. They said hi earlier. Nancy, how you doing? And Dusky, how you doing? Um, but
And,
yeah, go ahead, John. Sorry for
yeah,
interrupting you.
oh no, you're good. No, no, Nancy is like my number one race fan. I've known her since seventh grade. Good friend of mine, and Dusky, they both Nancy and Dusky, they do the videos for me. So when you see me post them on my Facebook page, that's where the videos come from. And so, hi ladies, how y'all doing? Hope y'all doing good.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta say, Nancy's definitely been a good friend too. I just met Dusky like last year or so, like through like the podcasts and stuff like that. So like for the following and comedy and all that, I haven't really seen him or her or them in person, but I've seen Nancy. Obviously, I talk to them like almost every Saturday. Uh,
Oh yeah.
so how do you handle pressure on the race day? Like, is there something you get yourself prepared? How do you get yourself prepared when you're on your way to the track?
Five finger death punch.
Yes.
Get the aggression out and just calm my mind, get everything out of it, and just go about the day. And then, but most importantly, like I always tell everybody else, have fun.
Oh
The
yeah.
moment
Yeah.
you're not having fun anymore, that's when you need to hang up the helmet and hang up the steering wheel. And right now, I'm having fun.
Gotcha. Definitely a she. Sorry. I missed that. But yeah. But yeah. They how I do it. ACDC. I've listened to Five Finger Death Punch. Definitely a good jam. Old time rock and roll. Bob Sager. Just
There
a
you go.
bunch of classical rock. For sure.
Oh yes. I get that aggression release out as I'm driving. And I get to the track, my mind's clear and blank, and the only thing I got in my mind is let's have fun.
So I always give the guests the chance to thank their sponsors and people they want to thank. So is there any sponsors and people you wanted to thank throughout the years and even this year that helped you out?
Oh, absolutely. I got a little bit of a laundry list here, and I don't even have no notes, as you can see. My hands are empty.
You're good. You're
But
good.
no, like I said, Nancy Shanehour, Dusky Ranker Bishop do my videos for me. Thank you so much. I love you, ladies. Thank you so much for doing that. Dave Dickens at DAS Automotive Machine Shop does my motors. That thing is a bullet. And I got Lou Instant Oil Change. They change the oil of my race car for free every week after every race weekend. It just saves me a big hassle, a big mess, and a lot of cuss words.
Oh yeah.
I got to thank the professor Ron Miller. at Ron Miller Race Cars. All the matter of fact, I was just over there today. I picked up the other 5 rims because I ordered 9 rims. So I got 5 tires of mount after this, but that's no biggie. Craig Dittman at Dittman Motorsports, Dale Cole Jr. at DCRgraphics.com. And you can find some of my merch on there if you go to DCRgraphics.com. Precision Flooring, kid I went to school with, the guy I went to school with named Dave Shaw. They do epoxy flooring for residential, commercial, industrial. Without them, and especially the fans, I mean, without the fans, there wouldn't be us, you know. And I gotta thank all of them for everything they've done, and helped me out through the years. And here's to a better 2025.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. And then one more thing, one last thing I would ask is, was there any advice you want to give to somebody that's just starting out and just getting into racing? Was there any advice just to help them get it going?
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you actually asked that because I did that to Landon Blycamp last year because he was pitted next to me and he had a look on his face. He was whiter than a sheet, and I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, "It's okay to be scared, son." I said, "You want to know a secret? We're all scared.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be scared." And he looked up at me and like, "Really?" And to people coming up, you're going to be scared. It's okay, you know. But when you learn the racing, hold your line. Do not, when the cars go around you, don't start going like this with the steering wheel. Just keep the wheel straight. Hold your line. The faster cars will move around you. And then as you get comfortable with your car, then you can challenge yourself. Well, maybe I can go in this turn just a little bit quicker. Maybe I can go down the straightaway like this. Just take your time and have fun. Most importantly, and hold your line, and it'll all come in time. Everyone comes in the sport. There, I always hear people, "Yeah, I'm going to win an A main, or I'm going to win the championship." And this is their first year out. Set realistic goals for yourself. Let me see if I can get a top 10 within my first 3 races.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can let me see if I can lead a lap. Make it realistic.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's been fun last was it going on, yeah, 5 years I've been doing it, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not once got to win, but the last couple of years since 2022 was my first time doing it. Well, one time in 21, but really wasn't that long, probably a lap, and then I got passed, but that was a little stepping stone. Then 2022 came to leading almost a whole race and losing it at the checkered flag. And then this year was well, losing it 2 laps to go, so I guess I wasn't progressing there. But uh but basically I getting better at leading, but I need to get me a win finally. It's long overdue. So we're hoping to get one this year. That's our goal, but it's after August 15th, it's hard to tell what exactly I'll be able to make it out, when exactly I'll be able to make it out to the track, because that's when my overtime and everything will be instated for my corrections officer deal. So, and knowing probably gonna be at the where I'm working a whole more than I'm out doing my personal things. So, but Um, but anyways, as always, thank you for coming on, John, and was
Thanks
happy
for
to
having
have you
me.
on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're leading, though, just a real quick, when you're leading a race like that and it's coming down to the end, don't get too anxious. Don't get too excited. Just breathe and relax and hit your marks. All you gotta do.
My thing is, I get down to that last lap or that last 2 laps, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna finally get it. That stuff just.
Yeah, that, that's called you getting anxious. Just slow your breathing down. Just focus on your marks. Don't worry about, oh my God, there's the white flag. Oh my goodness. Just all right. There's the white flag. Let me hit my marks. Let me make it back around. Slow your breathing down, relax, have fun in that car, just and hit your marks. And I'll guarantee you that lap will be over before you know it.
But all right, man. Thank you for coming on. I'm gonna go ahead and get around for ending the episode, but I do appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thank you for having me, man.
We'll see you Saturday.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care.
Bye bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was John Young, the Wild Child himself. So we got So, as I always, thank you guys for joining on the podcast. We have more to come. It's hard to tell when I'll be able to make the next ones. I'm trying to work them into the schedule. Like I said, I post updates on my page, Lehman Podcast, on Facebook. You can catch all my recent episodes on Lehman Racing Podcast on here on YouTube, which I'm live right now. Or you could catch it on Lehman Racing Podcast on Spotify. Unfortunately, I can't go live on that one. But I do post all my videos on there, which this one will be on Spotify either tonight or this weekend sometime for sure. Because I got to go back to work, or I should say the academy, one more day tomorrow. So it's going to be a busy day as far as tomorrow. And tonight's going to be kind of compacted. So we're going to try to get it in, loaded, uploaded by the weekend. But this will automatically be loaded to YouTube. I think it takes up to maybe 24 hours for it to get fully posted. Sometimes it posts right away. Sometimes it likes to take its time. But yep. Also, thanks for all of the support, and we will catch you guys next time. Thank you for joining, and have a great day. Take care.